Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be talking about today about this whole issue keeps coming back and back again. But I got backup today. In the description of this video, I'll provide you guys with two links. They're going to be two videos. One of them is from Zach Drives Fast, and the other one is from the Mic Drop Barbecue. And you get to hear and see and read more information about it. And it's not only two things that I mentioned, recent events that happened recently. And somebody said that, oh, just because I mentioned only two incidents doesn't mean it's happening everywhere. Well, I got news for everybody that thinks the same way. It is in abundance. Every content creator in the universe has mentioned these facts that go down with deactivations. And these same exact people that have been on live streams, and they are watching other channels, but they're just doing it for kicks and giggles. And it does not hold water, the stuff that they're trying to do. They're just doing it for content. They're saying that these content creators are doing it, they gotta have content. But the people that are doing reaction to this content, they're doing it for content themselves. There you go. It's a two-way street. But they want to twist this around to become a one-way street for content. I got backup. I got link in the descriptions. And you get to see more about it. Now, you're hearing this from me, one driver. How many millions of drivers out there? How many reports do you think we can get from every single delivery driver out there about deactivations? We have heard this in the past. We had a lot of years with a lot of content. We had a lot of replies and a lot of comments from other delivery drivers in their markets, in their communities, in different states, talking about the same exact thing. So it is in abundance. I already covered this. Now, in the description, you'll see the two videos. There's some more people talking about it as well. But I'm going to give you guys an example how these deactivations go into effect, the way it is now, and how they're supposed to be. And when I say supposed to be, doesn't mean because I'm the expert. It's common knowledge, and also I worked in the industry, customer service. And I see this play and go down often. And it all comes down to how professional are the people that you have hired in your company, how they're supposed to do it the right way. And what I'm talking about is support. And I give you guys an example of how support works right now, the way it is. And it's been, no, I'm not going to say it's been like that, because in the beginning, when the gig economy, which was Grubhub in the beginning, they had support from people who were working in the United States. And things were getting done within 2-3 minutes. They understood you, you understood them, the matter was settled within minutes. Not even, the most will be 5 minutes the most. Nowadays, you're on the phone for like 20 minutes to half an hour. And nothing gets resolved. Nothing. You have to call again. You just had a half an hour conversation, you have to call again. Because you're finding out what they told you, it wasn't true. You're seeing the opposite results of what they told you on the phone. There you go. Enough said. So I'll give you guys a good example. They have hired all these people from overseas, and most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't know their ass from their elbow. And that's why you're seeing deactivations up to wazoo. So many deactivations. Here's a scenario. A mother calls for an order, okay? She orders alcohol. You get to the door, and it's her son opening the door, with her identification, with her ID. But the policy says it has to be the same person that's on the ID when they open the door and giving you their ID, whatever it is, either a driver's license or a state ID, the ones that do accept, they do accept. It can't be any other person showing somebody else's ID. It's against the terms of service. It's against our policy. But you get there and it's a son open the door and they show the ID. You refuse to deliver that order and you bring the order back. And then either the same day or the next day you get deactivated and that's it. They don't tell you what happened, nothing. And they leave you in the dark. Why did that happen? Now, this is the part that they all have left out. Why did that happen? When the customer complained to support, what did the customer say on the phone? And we know they're in that adrenaline rush that they're in. They're mad upset, and it reflects that in the communication with support. So the customer says the following: the driver showed up to our house. I gave him the ID. He refused it and took the stuff back. How outrageous. What's going on? I want my money back, blah, 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 and going on a tantrum. Now, here's the critical part right here. Did customer support ask the right questions to the customer? The answer is no. What do? They just write everything down. Whatever the customer said, they just write everything down. That's it. Okay, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, for the information. We're going to take care of it, and that's it. They end the phone call, then you get deactivated, end the story. That's how it goes down. How it's supposed to go down is like this. Cross-examine the details with the whole ordeal, with the order, how it went down. And the way that goes is they need to calm the customer down on the phone. And tell the customer, let's take the situation from the beginning. When the driver get to your door, who answered the door? And now we know that support try to get the customer to cooperate, try to calm them down so they can get detailed information that's important. And then when support finally gets the customer to calm down, then he'll tell the customer, when the driver got there, who opened the door? She will say, oh, my son opened the door. And who's the one that gave the ID to the driver? It was my son. I gave it to him. It's the same thing. Because in her mind, it's the same ID, but even though she gave it to her son to show because she was in bed, she was either, her leg was hurt or she was so sick, she couldn't get up. So it's like, I'll give my ID to my son. It's the same thing. But she didn't say that. She didn't say that in the beginning. That's support's job to do that, to ask for the details, which they don't do. And now, when the support does it the right way, it will say, why didn't you show to the door your ID? Why didn't you get to the door to show the ID? And she'll say that I was either sick or my leg was hurt. So I gave it to my son, the ID to show to the driver, because I couldn't do it myself. I'll say, yes. Then support will say, well, our driver did the right thing because our policy is that a driver has to accept the ID from the same person that's on the ID. That's part of our terms of service. We cannot give you the order to somebody else with somebody else's ID. Even if it is your son, even if it is your husband, the driver has the right to return the order back to where he got it from. That's our policy. And then the customer would have said, oh, I didn't know that, because they weren't transparent to begin with this information. They never notify the customers about this stuff. And I made that video already. That it's the law. They have to do this shit. It's the law. Now the support knows that the driver did the right thing. It will tell the customer that next time when you order, you have to be the person that's showing your ID. You have to be the same person. And then the customer will say, okay, now that I know, I'll try and do that. Okay, and that's it. The driver does not get deactivated. The customer now knows what needs to happen next time they order. And the case is over. It's closed. That's how it's done professionally. But the way it is now is whatever the customer blabbers out their mouth, leaving out a lot of detailed information, crucial information, has been left out. Support just writes everything the way it is. And even if the customer writes the same report into automated, and it goes into algorithm, it's the same exact thing what she said to the support to begin with on the phone. It's the same exact thing. So when the algorithm is reading that, the algorithm is going to conclude that the driver was at fault. Because the customer left out a lot of important information and a lot of detail. There you go. And then when it goes to a human being, the human being is not doing their job either. They're not asking the right information. Cross-reference of what they're saying. Ask them the important questions. Who was at the door? Who showed the license? Why couldn't you show your driver's license? Important information that was left out. That's the stuff they mention to the customer. And before that goes down like that, they have to calm down the customer on the phone first. They have to get them on a conversation level in a calm manner. They have to get the customer in a calm manner so the customer can think better and think about the details that they left out. This way, they're clear-headed and they can give out the exact information how it all went down. Now support has the exact information that they need to have, and they can determine with that information the results. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But that's how it used to work when we had support when they used to work here in the United States. They were doing that back then. And there were very, very, very seldom, or let's say very, very few cases where drivers were getting deactivated back in the day. But ever since this whole operation went overseas, we're seeing deactivations up the wazoo. There you go. There's your evidence right there. It's the companies themselves. They went the cheapo depot route, and the results of that, cheap results. You're going to get cheap results. You get what you pay for. That's it. You're going to pay cheap, you're going to get cheap results. Period. It goes hand in hand with that shit. And that's why you're seeing deactivations everywhere in abundance. Because they're not doing things correctly the right way. Period. End of story. Yes or no? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you guys later. There it is.